Okay, welcome in to Run Your Own Labs. Thanks for joining me. Here we go. And I wanted to share just a couple slides with you before I get going here. And if you can, there's a disclaimer here, just information that's shared is for educational purposes only tonight. And the quality and the quantity of my health and wellness coaching services are not dependent on any purchase of any product. And here are my sources. So you can go back and look at these if you want to do some deeper diving. And as we get started, I just want you to take a minute and take a deep breath in. If you haven't had a deep breath in today, I invite you to do so. Is it on the top of a mountain with a bunch of snow or on the beach like me here in San Diego? But go ahead and we're going to settle in here for the next 40 minutes. And if you found the chat button, I would love to hear when the last time you've gotten any lab work completed, just out of curiosity, because you're going to get a chance to go from I don't understand anything from any of your serum labs, and maybe even some functional labs, to I know more than you from Ron from Parks and Rec. I don't know about I know more than you, but you're going to get to know a lot more than where you started today. That's my goal. So the agenda tonight is which functional labs are worth it and which ones aren't. Some blind spots in your normal serum lab work that I'm super excited to share because these are markers that you can pull up today. And then the list. So I have a list that I'm going to share with you, especially those of you that are on live tonight. I'm going to give you the link so you have that. And I'm also going to send out a recording with the downloads. You have access to the list and feel free to share it with any friends and family, anybody that you know could use the help. And then I'm going to show you the process, how to work with me and how to order your own labs without insurance or provider approval. And that is, again, something I'm really dedicated to, is this functional piece and giving and empowering you to run your own labs. So you're going to learn more about my client, Monique Kerr, who came to me with very high levels of ochratoxin A, which are molds, and how she reduced these levels. And if this particular test is the test that I continue to use or not. And same with this lead test. Her lead levels were in the red. And then she worked with me with my Back to Best program, and her lead levels have decreased. And also why it's important to go through your complete blood count or some very basic serum labs and have them reviewed from functional ranges. It can be really cheap and really valuable. Or you can go into some more sophisticated lab work. And, tonight I'm going to go through some of these, which ones are worth it and which ones you should skip. Because functional tests can really help with both prevention and cleaning up your terrain. So just to make sure that you know you're in the right room, you are perfectly designed. And I believe this. And we just need to be asking better questions when it comes to our health symptoms, like what is getting in the way of our recovery and what is blocking our natural expression of health. And so many of my clients, so many of the members at the Water Shop in Solana Beach in San Diego, California, come to us and they are researchers. They're researching topics, they're going on podcasts. There's a lot of information flying at us. And a lot of people are stressing. And so if you have access to the chat, let me know if you agree with this. Are you one of these people that are always researching? You're in the right room. And today we're going to explore effective strategies and to try and simplify this process for you, because that's, again, one of my goals. I believe simplicity is this is so smart and intelligent, is when we can simplify a process and really make it work, then it really relieves a lot of the stress. So these effective strategies that we're going to learn today are all backed by science and are the rage in functional health circles. So just, I'm going to come out and say it. If you're experiencing symptoms like chronic brain fog, bloating, anxiety, something is wrong and your body is asking for help. And so if you're eating organic and working out and still feeling like you're running in circles, this is a really good training for you. And if you know someone who's experiencing more chronic diagnosed health issues like autoimmune, depression, ulcerative colitis, then going under the hood with some lab work is going to help you or them get unstuck. So if any of this is resonating with you right now, I just invite you to grab some water, a tea, and just join me for the next 30 minutes. I promise it's going to be valuable. So if you've heard any of this from a provider recently, and I've had friends actually share with me some of these recently, as well as clients. So, diet doesn't matter. Lyme disease doesn't exist. That was from one of my clients just 2 months ago. Just stop eating potato chips and coffee to get rid of your mold. That was from an integrative doctor locally in San Diego about 3 years ago. You'll have autoimmune disease for life. Try a cleanse or an elimination diet. Just cut out FODMAPs or go keto. Take digestive enzymes and hope for the best. And your blood work looks fine, but something is off. So let me know if you in the chat, if you've heard anything of these, if any of these resonate with you. And so this is me. I'm Taylor. I'm certified functional nutritional counselor and a board certified health and wellness coach. I'm a clinical counselor trainee, or was, from 2014 to 2020. And I was working with high school students with substance abuse issues and high-risk community college students who dropped out of high school. And I learned a lot about adverse childhood experiences and trauma-informed care. And I just found that a lot of my students were missing very basic foundational pieces for their physical health. And so when I learned about mind-body medicine, it's like all the lights turned on, as they say. And so I have been at it since. And so since 2018. So I help natural health seekers uncover the root causes of their chronic gut-brain symptoms through functional testing, which we're going to talk about tonight, and lifestyle nutritional support without the frustration of conventional medicine. So here's the agenda. As a review, we're going to get into which functional labs are worth it now. So let's go. So I'm going to play this quick little video here. And then I'm going to play you a quick video at the shop in Solana Beach. So this is the Pac-Man of our immune system. This is a neutrophil, and this is under live blood microscopy. And this neutrophil is finding and chasing this bacteria. It's really wild. And these cells are the first to arrive at the site of infection. Oh, it got it. And they're the most abundant in our system, and they are white blood cells. So I wanted to show you that we do live blood microscopy at our functional wellness shop and clinic in Solana Beach. And these, I want to share with you that these are not clinically validated or accepted by clinical standards. Because of having the nurse, it's highly operator dependent and is not recognized by the broader scientific tool or scientific community. But I wanted to show you that some of the tests that I'm going to talk about today may not be super validated, but they could be informative, right? And or fun. So what happens is there's a little prick of your finger, and then our nurse that comes out will put the uh, the blood spot under the microscopy and then evaluate it. And so I'm going to show you this one here.
Hello, water friends.
This is me
Once
talking.
you see this video, you will not be able to unsee it. This is Ron, who is a registered nurse doing some live blood analysis, and his partner, Hallie, who is doing the interpretation. And we have a member who is a recent member, water member of ours, who came into the shop last week. And she, you're seeing here, her red blood cells. So they're all clumped together. They're not moving, they're not round, and they're certainly not getting any sort of oxygen. So what we decided to do, so this is denoting her end stage liver disease. So she's really struggling with her health. So we introduced 8 ounces of hydrogen-rich water and retested her.
Huge, huge difference. That was great to do. Oh my gosh, what a huge difference. Yeah, you're gonna want to get on that and stay on that.
And that was Hallie's response. She had never seen anything like it in all of her 4 years of doing live blood analysis. So that's the results of introducing hydrogen-rich water. And now you can see her red blood cells are oxygenated, and they are round and charged. And so they're able to transport the nutrients and oxygen that your body needs. For more information about hydrogen-rich water, pop into the shop.
Okay, so I wanted to share those two because that kind of got me started in getting into lab work. So I got my first biome test, if some of you might be aware of this particular company, dated January 20th, 2020. And since then, I've gotten one hair tissue analysis, one Dutch test, one fibroscan, 3 live blood analysis, 2 DNA tests, 4 different stool tests, 4 breath tests, 40 heart rate variability neuro checks, 1 total toxin test, 1 mold test for the home, 1 food sensitivity test, 3 blood chemistry tests, and A1C and thyroid markers. And I've gone to plenty of providers, chiropractors, muscle retrainers, acupuncturists, frequency medicine specialists, holistic estheticians, 2 functional providers, done NAET, Rolfing, cranial sacral therapy, spectrum light therapy, and therapeutic massage. So I am in the natural health space and world, and this is what interests me. And so again, if you have any comments or questions as we move along, I'd love to hear them. So what I'm going to do tonight is we're going to look at some of these tests, and we're going to look at them through validity and accuracy, reliability, precision, whether they're scientifically accepted, like from CLIA, the value, and then the clinical utility. Is it worth it? And these are not mine. This is from Dr. Brian Walsh, who did a training at the ECHO conference in 2024, and he's a naturopathic doctor. So some of these tests, information that I'm sharing with you tonight are Dr. Walsh's. So micronutrient testing gets an F for validity, reliability, scientifically accepted value, and clinical utility because testing your nutrient levels, like your Bs, for instance, have limited diagnostic value as a standalone marker. and severe functional deficiency of the micronutrient has been documented in the presence of normal and even high blood B12 levels. So it's also not CLIA compliant. So I'm going to move along. Just put in chat if I'm moving too fast. The salivary cortisol testing. So the awakening cortisol levels, and this is a research article or research study, is that the magnitude of increase shows daily variation, and there's potential sensitivity to differences in daily activity. So this one might be one that you just want to not do with your provider. Hair mineral analysis. This is one that I got to do. One of my fellow colleagues for health and wellness coaching. We met at a conference and she was willing to do a hair analysis for me. So I said, sure. And it was fun. I liked seeing the results. But these analyses can be from an individual can be quite variable, even if the collection process is under really tight control. And the mean values from numerous labs from these elements or from these hair mineral analysis are also super variable. So it's a complexity test issue with the method and the accuracy verification left up to the individual laboratory. And I think that's where it starts to get a little squirrely. So I personally, moving forward, even though despite it being fun and there was some, correlations, I won't be moving forward with any hair mineral analysis with my clients. My mentor teacher, Andrea Nakayama, she uses urinary organic acid testing, and some of you might have already taken an organic acid test, and maybe your provider uses it regularly. I like it for the neurotransmitter information that we get, but it is not always, according to Dr. Walsh's research, that the validity and the reliability and the replication of these tests unfortunately vary. So it's individual basis. And then I'm going to show you some case studies from some of my clients, but the urinary mold testing, I got to meet with Jason from Got Mold, Jason Earl, who is the owner and founder. And he does a wonderful training and he has a summit. But basically, everyone that he's connected with and respects that have wonderful, medical degrees believe that the urinary mold testing is not ideal, and that the blood serum mold antibody test from my Myco lab is way more scientifically, or has better clinical utility. And so that's something to consider too. So I'm going to keep going here. Okay, so a couple that that I recommend and that are wonderful to consider is genetic testing and epigenetic reports. I'm not talking about the risk genetic testing. I'm talking about the nutrigenomics, or this field of actionable genes. We test for 103 different genes. And it's wonderful to have this because you just take one swab test in your life, your genes never change, and you can get some really amazing epigenetic reports on 22 of these genetic markers. And so consider that if you haven't done so. A lot of people are freaked out with the 23andMe, but with these companies, they are CLIA compliant, HIPAA compliant. They have all the compliance standards, and they're not doing whole genome testing. They're just testing for those 103. So and they'll never sell your data. So that's the main thing around these tests. And then, ta-da, the basic blood chemistry tests. These get an A++. And so I love being able to review a complete blood count with differential, a complete metabolic panel, the lipid panels, the thyroid, the ferritin, the A1Cs, the CRPs, the vitamin D, all these cheap, wonderful serum labs you can get from your doctor's office. They are amazing and useful for clinical utility when we review them through functional ranges. So your doctor and provider is reviewing them through pathological ranges, looking for disease, and functionally trained providers or practitioners, we look at them through very different ranges. And so I'm going to go through a couple of those now. Okay, so we talked about which functional labs are worth it and which ones aren't, maybe that you want to skip. I'm going to go into more depth with my list in here in a bit, but I wanted to go over some of the blind spots in the normal lab results. When I was preparing this training, I was really excited to share these few with you. So you might want to take some notes. Yeah, so most doctors won't recognize health problems as as warning signals of toxic overload or sensitivity. So they'll treat each symptom separately, never really addressing the root cause. And so serious health problems like autoimmune and chronic issues can be prevented by looking through functional ranges versus the pathological ranges. So with the complete blood count with differential, the albumin optimal range is interesting because this is one of the major blood proteins and it's primarily produced in the liver. And its major role is in water distribution, and it serves as a transport protein for hormones, which is a really hot topic, and various drugs. So those with greater albumin have less overall mortality and a greater chance of survival. So lower albumin levels indicate malnutrition, digestive dysfunction, a need for hydrochloric acid, liver dysfunction, and also a lack of essential amino acids. So it also can be a strong indication of liver dysfunction, not just the ALT and the AST liver enzymes, and oxidative stress on the cell, and then free radical activity in the body. So increased albumin levels are a strong indicator for dehydration, but if you're in range functionally, this is great. So the men below 4.4 on the albumin marker have increased mortality, and women below a 4.2 have increased mortality. So go ahead and you can pull yours up and just see where your marker is, and see how your albumin levels are. What about, have you checked out your basophils? These, just like that cute little neutrophil, or if you read the comments of that YouTube video, that absolute unit of a a neutrophil was on the screen. But this basophils are a type of white blood count, or a type of that are a white blood cell, and are part of our innate immune system, and they modulate the immune response to allergens and pathogens, not just fungus and bacteria. And so it is the least common type of a white blood cell. And I had a client who tested 1.3. So anything above a 1 on your basophil percentage is you have basophils are responsible for releasing histamine, so it could be allergic reactions. Oh, I'm sorry. The basophils are responsible for releasing the histamine. This is what they're responsible for. Immune surveillance, anti-parasitic defense, regulating blood clotting, and cytokine production, which is our innate immune system. And so my client had elevated levels above a 1, and she definitely had a friend come and visit her at night when she went to the bathroom when she was on her parasite cleanse with us. And so these are all markers where it could indicate a parasitic infection. So high CRP or low ferritin or high eosinophils, and the basophils. Yeah. Okay. All right. So on a complete metabolic panel, what was super interesting about this one when I was doing some research is I have another client that had high HDL, and I was like, well, most providers, including functional providers, are like, hey, well, HDL is known as the good cholesterol, and higher levels are seen positive in clinical interpretation. Um, and so HDL transports this cholesterol, through the liver and processing and for processing and metabolism and into bile salts. And unlike LDL, HDL is thought that the process of bringing cholesterol from the peripheral tissues to the liver protects against the hardening of the arteries. So, but what's really interesting is that, as I mentioned, Dr. Walsh shared medical research showing that there's a positive association between increased gut permeability, aka leaky gut, and HDL cholesterol and lipopolysaccharides, which if you're doing any research, you know that these are bad endotoxins that hang out in the gut and are consistent with HDL being acute phase reactant to local gastrointestinal inflammation, basically that your gut's inflamed. So interesting, right? So this is the things that we can look at your complete metabolic panel. So when I talk to my client about the HDL being really elevated, these are the things that we're going to talk about. It's going to go back to sealing up the gut and maybe removing, doing another round of detoxification. Okay, energy, which is so many people talk about this, is looking at a comprehensive thyroid test, and not just looking at TSH, because that just remains the conventional standard for thyroid assessment, and it often fails to identify cellular hyperthyroidism, and also, which is a frequently overlooked cause of persistent fatigue. So what this reveals is that the free T3 and reverse T3 ratio provide insight into thyroid hormone activity at the cellular level. And so it's basically indicating if this thyroid hormone is being properly utilized for energy production or is it blocked at the cellular level. So Optimal DX talks about the levels of what he wants to that he wants to see at, let's see. Okay, so I didn't put the clinical markers or numbers in with my notes here, but I'll make sure to share the source with you guys where I just got this information. Yeah, okay. So moving along to ferritin. Ferritin is routinely measured for anemia, but its optimal range for energy production is much narrower than conventional ranges suggest. So what it reveals is ferritin reflects not just iron storage, but mitochondrial function and oxygen transport capacity. So that's why it's so interesting when we actually test for the ferritin in blood tests, we're also looking at um, um, levels between 45 and 80, and levels below a 40 are associated with fatigue, even in the absence of any anemia. Okay. Okay, vitamin D. I love this one. So, the best analogy that I've ever been given is that vitamin D and inflammation are on a seesaw. So, if our vitamin D levels are low, then our inflammation is high. And if our inflammation is high, then our vitamin D levels are high, then our inflammation is low, right? And if our inflammation is higher, vitamin D levels are low. So, what this means is that testing for vitamin D is really an effective way to assess vitamin D status. And increased serum vitamin D is usually seen with patients that are supplementing too much vitamin D. And a decreased serum vitamin D is extremely common sign of vitamin D deficiencies. So it's amazing because vitamin D acts more like a hormone than a vitamin, that it's connected to, it's associated with disorders including cancer, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, inflammation, chronic pain, mental illness, depression, diabetes, MS, and more. So optimum levels, and this is like Dr. Gundry's talking about this, Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Del Bredesen, they had a great conversation. Anyway, so optimum levels are ideally above 70. So I'm going to show you one of my clients that has been supplementing and was supplementing, thought she was doing fine because she moved from Seattle to San Diego. And she has genetic markers for vitamin D. And so some people with vitamin D genetic markers are able to probably absorb sun through the skin. So that's why they need to supplement. Okay, here it is, the list, and I'm doing okay. It's 33 minutes. So here it is, friends, and I'm going to send you this link. So I have the medical and functional provider. I have all the ones that I recommend asking your provider to run for you if you have health insurance. And these are the ones that I recommend that you work with a functional health provider to run for you. And then making sure that you get your these top ones run through a functional range. So I'm gonna stop my share real quick, and I'm just gonna put this in the chat for you all. Okay. All right, so we got through which functional labs are worth it, the blind spots in your normal lab results. You've got a copy of the list, and now I want to show you how to order your own labs without insurance or provider approval. So this was really key before I show you how to order the labs. 90% of chronic disease is driven by the environment, the exposome. And this was hot off the press from last year's longevity summit by Dr. Mark Hyman. And so the whole idea is that we really need to clean up our terrain, whether that be environment and in toxins from outside or from inside, an internal chemical environment that's causing symptoms. Just to break it down easily for you, These are the 4 silos that cause inflammation and causing chronic issues. So is it chronic infections, environmental toxins, the nutrient deficiencies, or chronic stress and trauma? So how I work with clients about this is that it starts to feel really good when you can start to connect the dots and just get to the root of what is causing issues. And those are the 4 silos. So it's the chronic infection, environmental toxins, nutrient deficiencies, and the chronic stress and trauma. So the allopathic model hasn't caught up, and the natural model needs to be a bit stronger to keep up with today's times. And that's why it's really important to go through a functional and foundational program with a provider. So biohacking and a natural medicine approach, so many people are taking their health into their own hands, which is such a beautiful thing. Um, and relying on food as medicine or elimination diet, um, and biohacking, like using peptides or IV injections or infrared light or hyperbaric oxygen chamber or ozone or growth hormone or plasma exchange or exosomes or stem cells. We're in San Diego, so everything's going on here, and we're at the border. We have lots of members that go down to Tijuana to get treatment. And I don't want you to stop doing any of these biohacking or natural medicine approaches. But my take is that I constantly am working in the foundations of health. So I always look at the genetics first, and then I work with the microbiome, and then I work with the detox pathways and the digestive system while supporting the nervous system. And so the left part of this hierarchy of health system is all foundational, while the right is more treatment and where you go see a treatment provider for any support on these systems. So I always, asking my clients and looking at their genes, I ask like, what size is their bucket? Because some people have genetic markers where they have detox genes which makes their bucket really small, like the size of a teacup, while other people don't have genetic variants, and so they can tolerate more stress or their bucket can get filled more. And so the idea, this concept of allostatic load, is that we've constantly brought in so much of these environmental toxins and chronic infections into our bucket, and we need to take out the trash. So with my client that I showed you, we used Vibrant Wellness, the total toxin test, and she had done one similarly with her integrative doctors 3 years prior. And so now I'm still going to use this particular test, but I'm going to definitely use my Myco lab, the serum antibody for mold, if someone can confirm that they have mold in their environment. So with my detox course, you're able to learn more about testing for the home, and using a third party and lab that's more inexpensive and not breaking the bank. So these are my client's levels that went down from a 14.98 for mold down to 0.53, and again for her lead levels from 16 down to a 0.52. This is the organic acids or oat tests that got a C plus. Again, this is only for people that are presenting with symptoms. So this client is diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So to have neurotransmitters that were all over the place really get regulated and down the line is really exciting, particularly because of some of the genetic markers that she also presented with. And I mentioned that I was going to show you my client that moved from Seattle to San Diego in hopes of supporting her vitamin D levels. So this was 2019. She had 21 was her level. So this is below a standard range pathologically. And if you remember, ideal range is above 70. And then this was in 2021. And then I started working with her in 2023. And so this was her levels 64.7. So that's exciting because she was using her customized formula based on her genes to support her vitamin D levels. So who needs gut to repair their gut? Basically everyone. If you want to take a look at these symptoms, if you or someone you know has any of these, let me know. Is it 3? Is it 5? Is it 10? I certainly had some on here. Okay, so this is where it's just easy and straightforward, and you just don't have to disrupt your life to heal. Healing your body doesn't have to be complex and hard. So that's why I really make sure that I give my clients a real clear path, and we go low and slow, and we go step by step so that you can go on to living the longevity that you want to have. I think about having the peace and the purpose to live out a vibrant life. And so this is my back to best. This is how to work with me. This is a foundational and functional nutritional program, and you get your genetic tests completed. You get evaluated by your basic blood labs and why integrative doctors in your area may not be clued into the best, most updated protocols for chemical toxicity. And then I design your matrix, and we do a deep dive into your whole health, starting from birth to present day. And then I send you any of the lab work that you want. So is it any of the functional labs? Is it the specialty labs? Is it this basic serum labs? Do you want to have a nurse to your door, collect the blood, urine or stool? Would that be easier? Do you want to have it before the program or after, or do a little bit of both? So I'm seeing a chat in here. Oh, Nancy, thank you. You're only seeing. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen again. Okay, let's see if that's better. Okay, gosh. So this is my also part of the detox program. Okay, great. Yeah. And so this is where these are the steps. So I go through the detox pathways, mold and fungus, liver, gallbladder, parasites, heavy metals, and genetics. This is all part of the Back to Best. It's an online course, and it's a group course, and we meet weekly to go over your protocols. And then there's Q&A sessions with a group, and then also the total toxin test that I can use for those of you that are interested in that. I also have stool tests and that I recommend, and also some autoimmune tests, and obviously the genetic testing. So again, it involves a case review. It has all the symptom trackers, bonus gifts, an entire protocol workbook, and a lifetime supplement discount. So For those of you, I'm gonna go ahead and put this link in the chat if you're interested in just meeting with me to go over and customize your Back to Best program. I'm enrolling and I'm starting a new group on May 6th. So it's